The Philippine president has slammed China for the latest flare-up in the South China Sea. Rodrigo Duterte says Beijing's actions do not speak well of relations between the two nations. At the same time, Xi Jinping has told Southeast Asian leaders that China will never use its size to bully smaller nations. Olivia Xiong with that story.
It's the first time that Chinese President Xi Jinping is attending an ASEAN summit. Representation at such meetings typically left to the country's premier, Li Keqiang. And Mr. Xi used the opportunity to highlight the long-standing ties between China and the regional bloc, formally announcing an upgrade in ties to a comprehensive strategic partnership, calling it a milestone in the history of China-ASEAN relations, and stressing that China was, is, and will always be a good neighbor, friend and partner of ASEAN.
China will unswervingly take ASEAN as a high priority in its neighborhood diplomacy, unswervingly support ASEAN unity and ASEAN community building, unswervingly support ASEAN centrality in the regional architecture, and unswervingly support ASEAN in playing a bigger role in regional and international affairs.
The meeting to mark 30 years since Beijing became an ASEAN dialogue partner comes as the rivalry between China and the US continues to simmer, with Southeast Asia becoming a battleground for influence between the world's two largest economies. Just last month, Joe Biden became the first US president in 4 years to attend an ASEAN summit, the US leader announcing over $100 million in initiatives for the region. And on Monday, President Xi announced China's own pledges. This includes plans to boost imports of ASEAN goods to $150 billion in the next 5 years, as well as provide $1.5 billion in development assistance to help ASEAN countries in their fight against COVID-19 and to bolster their economic recovery. Initiatives in science and technology were also discussed. But amid this charm offensive by China and the US, some ASEAN countries have raised concerns about being forced to pick sides, although President Xi seemed to want to allay those concerns.
China firmly opposes hegemonism and power politics. We seek long-term, friendly coexistence with neighboring countries.
President Xi also said that China would work with ASEAN to counter interference. Beijing has been angered by what it sees as the US trying to shore up support amongst other countries to counter China. It has also been unhappy with US freedom of navigation missions in the disputed South China Sea, where it has competing claims with several ASEAN states. China's foreign ministry once again saying on Monday that its sovereignty and interest in the disputed waters is supported by a legal basis.
南海仲裁案及其所谓裁决是非法的、无效的，任何挑战中国主权和利益的图谋都不可能得逞。南海有关海域总体平静，中非双方保持着密切沟通。
There was, however, no mention of the code of conduct for the South China Sea, where progress on negotiations has been slow, although President Xi added that China and ASEAN must maintain stability in the waters. In spite of this, China's foreign ministry here described the meeting as a successful one, with President Xi at one point describing China and ASEAN as relatives. His remarks largely focused on areas where both sides could collaborate. This, after all, comes at a politically sensitive time for President Xi here at home, as he gears up for an all-important twice-a-decade party congress in the second half of next year, where he's expected to be granted an unprecedented third term in power. Olivia Xiong, CNA, Beijing.